and I can't do a season of the podcast without featuring our fuzzy pals.
Ho, ho, ho.
Just what you've been waiting for. Movies, TV, music, and more. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date. Episodes drop every other Monday. It's the Matt Watch That. It's the Matt Watch That. It's the Matt Watch That podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Matt Watch That podcast, the place for reviews, rants, and randomness. I'm your host, Matt Seroski, filmmaker, film fan. Each episode, I'm going to watch a movie or TV pilot that I probably should have seen but never got around to. It could be a recent favorite, critic's choice, or cult classic. To join in on the conversation, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or suggestions as to what I should see next, use the hashtag MattWatchThat on social. Before we start, this is the last episode in this season of the Matt Watch That podcast, so I'm going to do a year in review of my favorite things. Favorite movie, Inside Out 2. The long-anticipated follow-up to the 2015 movie, Pixar once again proves that they are not just in the business of animation. It's poignant storytelling at its finest. The sequel, like its predecessor, delves deep into the world of emotions, bringing in new feelings as Riley hits adolescence. She now juggles the upheavals of high school, evolving friendships, and growing pressures from an increasingly digital world. What truly makes the film stand out is how it addresses themes of emotional intelligence and the importance of understanding one's feelings in the context of relationships. The visuals are, as always, nothing short of stunning. The representation of the different islands of personality are clever and unique. Ultimately, Inside Out 2 doesn't just revisit the past, it broadens the conversation around emotions, identity, and how we connect with each other in an increasingly complex world. It's an essential watch not just for kids, but for anyone who's ever been on the roller coaster ride of growing up. Favorite TV show? The Penguin. The world of Gotham has always been a fascinating mix of chaos, corruption, and villains, but with The Penguin, HBO's much-anticipated spin-off series from The Batman, the focus shifts to one of the city's most iconic underworld figures, Oswald Cobb. Played once again by Colin Farrell in a transformative performance, The Penguin is a sleek, brutal, and occasionally darkly comedic dive into the mobster-driven rise to power in the criminal world. Picking up immediately after the events of The Batman, The Penguin follows Cobb's attempt to fill in the power vacuum left by Carmine Falcone's death. Cobb is a grimy, fierce, and emotionally volatile figure, and Farrell brings this gritty reinvention to life with nuance and pathos. It's the kind of role that requires a fine balance of menace and vulnerability, and Farrell nails it, making Cobb a fascinating anti-hero rather than a one-dimensional bad guy. Overall, The Penguin is a rich, compelling exploration of power, corruption, and survival in Gotham's criminal underworld that just happens to be set in a city where masked vigilantes and costume villains are the norm. And last, favorite concert, Kate Nash. I was fortunate enough to see Kate Nash in concert, live at Racket NYC, formerly known as Highline Ballroom. It was my first concert since the pandemic, so I was brimming with anticipation. Even though I'd heard her song Foundations back in the day, I didn't become a fan until I saw her on the Netflix series Glow and started listening to her back catalog. Her latest album, 9 Sad Symphonies, is my favorite of the year and one of her best releases. Kate knows how to command a stage, and her performance was full of energy and enthusiasm. Her voice has never sounded better, and it's nice to hear a singer actually sing live in concert. Imagine that. Her band was fierce and some incredible musicians. The lighting reflected the emotions of each song, and the set list flowed seamlessly. I would have liked to hear Abandoned, which is my favorite track off her new album, and Nicest Things is always a crowd pleaser, but with a 15-plus year career and a library of catchy tunes, there are bound to be songs left out. I can't say enough about Kate Nash. Her debut, Made of Bricks, was a striking blend of indie pop, punk energy, and cheeky British humor, showcasing Nash's ability to balance biting wit with emotional vulnerability. Her sophomore album, My Best Friend Is You, marked a noticeable shift in both style and tone, expanding into glam rock, doo-wop, jazz, and soul. She released Girl Talk in 2013 that featured a collection of songs that drew inspiration from punk and riot girl movements, addressing politics, feminism, and activism. It was raw and unapologetic. She returned to her indie pop roots with Yesterday Was Forever, while exploring deeper, more personal themes. The album blends catchy, guitar-driven melodies with introspective lyrics and electronic influences. Her latest, 9 Sad Symphonies, is an emotionally charged exploration of heartache, self-reflection, and the complexities of navigating life and love. The album features a rich blend of dark pop, indie rock, and orchestral elements, creating a dramatic and immersive soundscape. No matter the genre, Kate Nash has an inexplicable sound that is authentically hers. If I had to recommend a best-of list, it would include Foundations, Mouthwash, Skeleton Song, Nicest Things, Kiss That Girl, Do-Wah-Do, Early Christmas Present, I Hate Seagulls, Friend, Sister, Oh My God, Life in Pink, Drink About You, Hate You, Millions of Heartbeats, Misery, Waste Man, and of course, Abandoned. While her commercial peak might have been in the late 2000s, her impact continues to be felt, especially in the indie and alternative scenes. Her journey is far from over, and her legacy is one of artistic freedom, growth, and an unflinching commitment to creating music that speaks to both personal and societal truths. On to the main attraction. Each review will end with a ranking out of 5 stars. 1 star is skip it, 2 stars watch at your own risk, 3 stars standard fare, 4 stars worth checking out, and 5 stars must see. Now, if I give a title 5 stars, it doesn't mean I'm comparing it to Casablanca, Jaws, or Seinfeld. I rank titles based on other movies or TV series in that genre and at that time period. On this episode of the podcast, I'll be reviewing Fred Claus from 2007. It was directed by David Dobkin, who helmed martial arts comedy Shanghai Nights, rom-com Wedding Crashers, fantasy switch The Change-Up, and episodes of Into the Badlands. The screenplay was co-written by Dan Fogelman, who scribed animated films Cars and its sequel, Bolt and Tangled, rom-com Crazy Stupid Love, buddy comedy Last Vegas, music drama Danny Collins, and episodes of This Is Us and Only Murders in the Building. And Jesse Nelson, who penned dramedies Karina, Stepmom, and I Am Sam, romantic comedy Because I Said So, and musical Waitress. It stars Vince Vaughn as Fred Claus. Known for his distinctive blend of charisma and comedic timing, he rose to fame in the late 1990s with breakout roles in films like Rudy and Swingers, the latter which got him cast by Spielberg in The Lost World, Jurassic Park. His performance in Old School showcased his sharp wit and improvisational skills that captivated audiences. He continued to work in comedy with Starsky and Hutch, Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy, Dodgeball: A True Underdog Story, and Wedding Crashers, but he ventured into more dramatic territory with roles in True Detective and Hacksaw Ridge, demonstrating his versatility as an actor. His recent output has included an arc on Curb Your Enthusiasm and the Apple TV series Bad Monkey. Vaughn has maintained a unique presence in Hollywood, often portraying larger-than-life characters that resonate with viewers. Paul Giamatti is an acclaimed actor known for his remarkable versatility and rich character portrayals across a wide range of genres. He gained early recognition with his roles in films like Sideways, where his performance as a heartbroken wine enthusiast earned him an Academy Award nomination, and American Splendor, which brought the quirky comic book artist Harvey Pekar to life. Giamatti's ability to convey complex emotion has made him a standout in both dramatic and comedic roles, evident in films like Cinderella Man, Lady in the Water, 12 Years a Slave, Saving Mr. Banks, Straight Outta Compton, and most recently in the television series Billions. He earned a second Academy Award nomination for The Holdovers as instructor Paul Hunnam. With a career spanning 2 decades, he has consistently impressed audiences and critics alike with his depth, charm, and commitment to his craft. The film cast includes 3 Oscar winners, Kevin Spacey, Rachel Weisz, and Kathy Bates, 2 Oscar nominees, Paul Giamatti and Miranda Richardson, as well as Primetime Emmy nominees, Elizabeth Banks and John Michael Higgins. This is something to look out for. The pizza place at the end is Gino's East, an actual Chicago pizzeria. which Vince Vaughn frequents. So let's jump into it. Fred Claus, the older, disgruntled brother of Santa Claus, has spent most of his life in the shadow of his revered sibling. While Saint Nick has become a beloved figure around the world, Fred grew resentful with the spirit of Christmas. As an adult, Fred became a fast-talking, cynical repo man who cons his way through life. He lives alone in an apartment in Chicago, and his best friend is an orphan child named Slam Gibbons. His relationship with meter-maid girlfriend, Wanda, falls apart when he forgets her birthday. He reaches a low point when he's arrested for impersonating a Salvation Army employee to solicit $50,000 to open an off-track betting shop. Without enough bail, he calls upon his brother, Nick, for a loan, who proposes that Fred works at the North Pole to earn the $50,000 for his business venture. Here's a quote without context: "Sometimes it hurts to grow." Fred Claus has a good amount of Christmas spirit and holiday cheer, but doesn't live up to the perennial classics like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, or A Christmas Story. Vince Vaughn brings his signature charm to the role of Fred, delivering a relatable performance that captures the struggle of living in someone else's shadow. The interactions between Fred and the elves are hilariously chaotic, and the brother support group is the highlight of the film. The movie adds to the lore of Santa Claus in clever ways. The North Pole's whimsical setting is a visual feast, with set decorations by Aaron Boyd, Daniel B. Clancy, and Richard Roberts. Paul Giamatti's portrayal of Santa Claus is surprisingly grounded. He adds depth to the role, portraying a Santa who's worn out by the immense pressure of managing the North Pole and making Christmas perfect for every child in the world. While the plot may be predictable, the fun performances and vibrant visuals keep the energy high. Sometimes it feels like it's trying too hard to juggle its comedic and sentimental elements, but the film doesn't shy away from exploring family dynamics and the pressures of expectations, making it relatable for anyone who's ever felt out of place. But it's a good reminder that the Christmas spirit is all about family and second chances. Now for a little trivial trivia. Trevor Peacock's narration was originally used as a placeholder, but the filmmakers ended up loving it so much that they left it in the final cut of the film. He also portrays Papa Claus. Fred Claus was produced by Silver Pictures and distributed by Warner Brothers. It was filmed at Pinewood Studios in England and in Chicago, Illinois. The cinematography was captured by Remy Adefarasin, whose filmography includes romantic dramedy Sliding Doors, comedy About a Boy, spy spoof Johnny English, and wrestling drama Fighting with My Family. He received an Academy Award nomination for Best Cinematography of Elizabeth. It was edited by Mark Lavolsi, who worked on psychological thriller Vanilla Sky, rom-com The Girl Next Door, dramedy The Devil Wears Prada, and biographical drama Saving Mr. Banks. The score was composed by Christoph Beck, who wrote the music for family flicks Big Fat Liar, Cheaper by the Dozen, Garfield the Movie, and Yours, Mine, and Ours, comedies The Pink Panther, Drillbit Taylor, What Happens in Vegas, Hot Tub Time Machine, and musical comedy Pitch Perfect. He won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Music Composition for a series of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The soundtrack featured songs by Elvis Presley, Johnny Mercer, Doris Day, Dean Martin, and the Ronettes. The runtime is 1 hour 56 minutes. It had a budget of $100 million and grossed $97 million at the box office. On the Ski Index, I give it 3 out of 5 stars. Add half a star if it's the holiday season. If you've seen Fred Claus and have opinions on the movie, let me know what you think using the hashtag #MattWatchThat. Moving right along, each episode, I'm gonna post clips that I think people should watch. It could be movie trailers, music videos, interviews, or something completely random. Search for my YouTube page and there'll be a playlist called Matt Watch That Playback. The Muppets is a beloved franchise of puppet characters who are known for their unique blend of slapstick comedy, heartwarming moments, and memorable songs. And I can't do a season of the podcast without featuring our fuzzy pals. The Muppets first gained fame with The Muppet Show, a variety television series that aired from 1976 to 1981. The ensemble featured Kermit the Frog, the level-headed but often frazzled host, Miss Piggy, a glamorous diva with a soft spot for Kermit, Fozzie Bear, a stand-up comic who delivers corny jokes, Waka Waka, Gonzo, an eccentric blue weirdo, Statler and Waldorf, elderly hecklers shouting sarcastic comments from the balcony, and the Electric Mayhem, the house band. They transitioned onto the big screen with the trilogy of The Muppet Movie, The Great Muppet Caper, and Muppets Take Manhattan, which included a flashback sequence that was spun off into an animated series, Muppet Babies, from 1984 to 1991. After the death of Jim Henson, the Muppets returned to theaters with The Muppets Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, and Muppets from Space. After Disney acquired the Muppets, 2 additional movies followed with The Muppets in 2011 and Muppets Most Wanted 3 years later. A streaming series, Muppets Mayhem, focused on Dr. Teeth and his band. They've been recognized by various cultural institutions and organizations, including the American Film Institute, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Library of Congress, and both Academies of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and Television Arts and Sciences. But beyond that, their greatest achievement is bringing happiness to families across generations. So I've selected a couple of clips, but this time around, they're all outtakes, which shows how much fun the Muppeteers had on set despite the grueling hours. My favorite blooper is the one with Bert and Ernie. It's short and simplistic, but captures the relationship between Jim Henson and Frank Oz within their characters. These bloopers and outtakes are sure to lift your holiday spirits. They're all available in the Matt Watch That Playback playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Now it's time for the recommendation. Yes, that's the word recommendation with Matt in the middle. I'm going to end each podcast with my own recommendation of a movie or TV series. Today I'm talking about 8-Bit Christmas. Set in the 1980s, it follows the hilarious and heartfelt journey of young Jake Doyle, a 10-year-old boy living in suburban Chicago, who's obsessed with the latest and greatest technology, specifically the Nintendo Entertainment System. As Christmas approaches, Jake becomes fixated on getting the 8-bit console to unlock a new world of gaming adventures. It stars Winslow Fegley as the young gamer Jake. His parents are portrayed by Steve Zahn of That Thing You Do fame, and June Diane Raphael from Grace and Frankie. It's narrated through flashback by the adult Jake, a grown-up, wisecracking Neil Patrick Harris. 8-Bit Christmas was directed by Michael Dowse, who helmed comedy Take Me Home Tonight and sports flick Goon, and written by Kevin Jakubowski, creator of the series Play-by-Play, and based upon his novel of the same name. Similarly to the Goldbergs, 8-Bit Christmas is a love letter to the 80s, celebrating the magic of childhood memories, the spirit of holiday adventure, and the timeless wish of getting that one special gift. It captures the quirks of the era, from neon-colored clothing and big hair to the frantic rush of shopping mall culture. Fegley delivers a delightful performance as the earnest and resourceful Jake, who embarks on an all-out holiday quest to convince his skeptical parents that the NES is worth the investment. Through a blend of heartwarming moments and hilarious misadventures, Jake learns valuable lessons about friendship, family, and the true spirit of the holidays. Along the way, he discovers that sometimes the best moments come from the journey itself, not just the destination. 8-Bit Christmas is currently streaming on Max. That's all for this edition of Matt Watch That. Thanks for listening to me babble. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed or suggestions as to what movie or TV pilot I should see, use the hashtag MattWatchThat on social. Head over to mattseroski.com for all the latest news and updates, and come back next time for the reviews, rants, and randomness. He rose to fame in the late 1990s with breakout roles in films like Rudy and Schwingers. It captures the quirks of the era, from neon-colored clothing and big hair to the rantic frush. He gained early recognition with his roles in films like Sideways and American Splendor, which brought the Played once again by Colin Farrell in a transformative abhorrence. It captures the quirks of the era, from neon-colored clothing and big hair to the frantic rush of shopping mall. Ugh, my favorite.